to share your expertise. You are a part-time wheelchair user. When did you first get the idea of trying to do a backflip?
I didn't really plan on doing a backflip for a long time. It had been something I'd had in my mind for a while, but like in 2016, I went down to Sydney and saw a Monster skate park there, and they had like this foam pit and like this really cool run up ramp, which they could actually move to change the distance to make like the run ups easier for me. So like on my first night there, really, the guy, like the manager, was like, "Oh, I can move the ramp for you to help you out if you need more speed to do like some tricks and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I'll take advantage of that." And like I got him to move the ramp forward, and I went down it for like the first time and got like a fair amount of clearance. So I thought, oh, well, that's like the most air I've ever gotten, and I've seen people like in the US and like just on Facebook and other videos and stuff like do flips with only a little bit of air. So I thought, oh, this should be enough to do something. So I gave it a second go and just held onto my frame. So like I halfway rotated and kind of landed on my back in the foam. And I thought, okay, it's definitely doable if I'm not even trying it. I've already pretty much got like a quarter of the way there. So third go, I went down again, just yanked the frame as hard as I could, and that did a full rotation. I landed wheels down in the foam, and then I just did that a bunch of times more until I kept landing wheels down in the foam. And then once I was confident that I wasn't going to land head first, I got some like plastic cardboard sheets because of the way the run up ramp for that was set up. I couldn't actually do it on that, so we actually sorted out the foam pit and made it so I could land the flip on that.
Yeah, now these kinds of tricks obviously can't be performed in your standard wheelchair. I would.
It's got carbon fiber wheels, which are like super strong, and like they absorb a lot of the impacts and shocks. It's got shock absorbers on the wheelchair. It's got cross bracing, like floating suspension system. So it's really quite tough and meant to take a beating.
What about your safety gear?
Depending what tricks I'm doing, pretty much always wear a helmet because being in the wheelchair, you're pretty much strapped to it. So if I go down, I'm going down with the chair, and I'd rather not clean my face up too bad. I usually have elbow pads, knee pads. For bigger tricks, I have like a back protector and a neck brace. Kid, I used to do front flips and stuff on the trampoline. I'd always want to do a backflip, but I could never do it on my legs. So like when I did the backflip, I'm like, oh, it feels just like a front flip, but you're going the other way.
Yeah. Sure, he says to the lady who can't do backflips, but yeah, I'll take your word for it as well. So, before we sort of talk about the change that you want to bring about, especially for motocross athletes, when did the wheelchair become part of your life?
I've been using a wheelchair since like I was 12, just aggressively using it more because I have like it's described as like low muscle tone and hypermobility. So for me, it means like my muscles have to work harder to engage. So it's quite fatiguing for me to try and walk. And like with the hypermobility, my joints are quite loose, and it happens to affect me from like the waist down. So it means my muscles have to not only work harder, but they have to work harder to keep my joints stable. So as you can imagine, it gets quite tiring trying to walk. So that's why I find a wheelchair a lot easier to use than actual legs, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. Tim Lachlan is my guest on 91.7 ABC Gold Coast. He's trying to bring about some pretty big change for wheelchair motocross athletes, and we'll get to that in a moment. But the reason I brought up why you have a wheelchair is that the energy that must go into some of the tricks that you're performing, does that take much of a toll on your body?
It can do. Like usually, I'll go to the skate park when I'm having a good day because like the way my condition is, I have like sort of like flare episodes where I'll be quite tired, and like on my good days, I like to go to the skate park then. But yeah, I just enjoy riding because it not only distracts from like the sort of pain that my condition sometimes causes, but like I just find it fun. It lets me get out there and feel like I'm just like everyone else.
Yeah. You are on a mission. I mentioned that at the start to launch adaptive skateboarding and wheelchair motocross across the country. Where are you at with that? What are you planning to do?
At the moment, I'm working towards setting up a not-for-profit, getting a few people on board with it, and we need a few more members to make it like an official sort of committee so it can become an official not-for-profit. But at the moment, I run around the country setting up like adaptive skate clinics, like adaptive clinics, as well as wheelchair motocross clinics, and that's just getting people with disabilities to get into the skate park and try these sports that usually are seen as off limits. Because in my experience, wheelchair motocross has been absolutely amazing for like my ability to get around. Like my mobility has improved so much more. Like despite being in a wheelchair, I can access everything that a person can access on legs. Like I can go up and down stairs, I can go up and down curbs. Nothing is really in my way anymore, and I want to bring that sort of freedom to people with disabilities everywhere.
You also got a grant from the Challenge Athletes Foundation to travel to the States. Who did you meet?
Yeah, I got a grant from the Challenge Athletes Foundation in 2016, and I went over for the Life Rolls On They Will Skate Again event, and that's held at Venice Beach. And I went over there in July, and like I have a few friends and stuff online who are like WCMX athletes. They all live in the US, so I met up with them, and I met up with the guy who made my chair and stuff, and we just hung out. It was really cool going to all these different skate parks with all these different people, and just being able to be in with people just like yourself. It was really awesome to actually experience being part of a community.
Yeah, and the skill that it must take to be able to maneuver a wheelchair, modified or otherwise, down a set of stairs is amazing. Did that take you long to perfect?
Um, like with going down the stairs and stuff, I was quite apprehensive at first, and I'd start off doing small stuff. Like I'd only start doing one or two steps at a time, and then you get confident with that, and then you go up to doing more steps. And like there's different ways to do it and stuff. So I learned one way, and once I was happy with that, I'd try different ways. So it's all like trial and error and just patience, really.
You are studying occupational therapy. I should have just thrown that in there at university. So obviously, is there an area in occupational therapy that you really want to focus on?
Um, I don't know. Like just having finished my second year, I'm still having my eyes open to just how broad occupational therapy actually is. But at the moment, like I've got quite an interest in like anatomy and like hand therapy. Like that's one really OT specific area. But I'm also looking to perhaps get into like wheelchair prescription and pediatrics, because I noticed there's like a lot of wheelchairs around that I've seen that don't look like they're fitted to the person's needs so much. So I think being able to change that and give a person a wheelchair that will actually help them rather than hinder them would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, a more personalised touch
Yeah.
to wheelchairs. Well, you are one of the world's top wheelchair motocross athletes. You hail from Labrador. We're so proud of you, and good luck on your mission, as you say, to spread the word about wheelchair motocross around the country. Thank you, Tim Lachlan.
Thanks for having me.
It is 91.7 ABC Gold Coast. I didn't see you in action, by the way.